Welcome to Fanfiction Hub. Please like, subscribe, and hit that notification button for more. We bring quality fanfiction for your enjoyment and hope to better the contents in the future. Now please enjoy. Two of them are dirty jokes. Immediately, this young girl who had just entered puberty blushed with embarrassment. Like a ripe peach. Say, two corn kernels got married, but the next morning the male corn discovered that the female corn was missing. And there's a kernel of popcorn lying next to him, so it's weird to take a kernel of corn. I can't help but ask, who are you, my wife? Guess what the popcorn said? When Lee Haoshin laughed suddenly. I hate it, I don't care about you. Clarice blushed instantly and ran away shyly. It's just the girl's back which looks extraordinarily cheerful under the sun. She hadn't been this relaxed in a long time. Chapter 11 Practical Training. In a blink of an eye, it was time for the afternoon class. Lee Haoshin and Clarice walked into the classroom talking and laughing. But I found that there was no one in the big classroom. There will be no knowledge class in the afternoon, but actual combat training instead. Everyone has gone to the training ground. The students who stayed behind in the large classroom immediately informed the two of them. Combat training. Lee Haoshin was taken aback for a moment. Clarice looked at each other, then turned around and walked towards the training ground. Not long after, the two came to the training ground. There are already a lot of people here now, and many familiar faces are also inside. Phantom Cat Kitty, Iceman Bobby, Cyclops Scott, and others are all there. I didn't expect the high grades and the low grades to come. Lee Haoshin looked around. On the small podium not far away, Storm Girl was standing on it and speaking. This afternoon, actual combat training. As mutants, what is really important to us is to master our own power. Those who know how to control power can live better in this world. And us mutants are naturally stronger than ordinary people due to the X gene. Even if you are not a power mutant but an energy type, a mind type, or a body mutant type, no matter which one you are, our bodies are far superior to ordinary people. So we need to know better fighting skills in order to be able to exert great strength. Otherwise, we could easily hurt those around us or even ourselves. Storm Girl said this, smiling and looking at everyone. I think you all know that excellent students can only join the X-Men. But if you want to become an X-Men, then you can completely master the abilities of mutants. This is the basic condition. Having said that, Orlo the Storm looked at Cyclops Scott next to him. Yes, only by fully mastering your own power can you be qualified to become an X-Men. At that time, you can also become heroes who protect the mutant world just like us. Cyclops Scott thumped his chest immediately and said in a high voice. Clap, clap, clap. The people around immediately applauded excitedly. Some senior students couldn't help but whistle. Okay, be quiet. Now we start class. There are me, Storm, and Iceman. I'll be your training partner. I hope you will cherish it and work hard to familiarize yourself with your abilities. While carefully mastering your own abilities, you should also learn more about your companion's abilities. After all, you are likely to be comrades in arms fighting side by side in the future. Cyclops Scott immediately waved his hand, motioning for everyone to be quiet. It's really strange. It stands to reason that it is impossible for the upper and lower grades to have training sessions together. Lee Haoshin was a little puzzled. Did the professor notice something? A hint of speculation flashed in his eyes. While the world is chaotic, it's more like a consolidated Marvel universe. But in the past few days, Lee Haoshin has not gained nothing. He looked at it based on the original body's memory and the news he had collected. The current time node should be the eve of the X-Men's third battle. Chinese letter, 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 asterisk, Chinese letter, and Chinese letter 980205, tilde 8-5/6 Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. However, Wolverine hasn't come back yet and Chin hasn't been resurrected yet, so I still have time. Lee Haoshin estimated the time in his heart. Dong 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 tilde. At this moment, two people walked into the open space in front of the small podium. Colossus. Lee Haoshin looked and saw a burly man covered in metal walking up. The heavy body caused the ground to make loud noises. I don't know how powerful Ganglishi is. Looking at this burly golden bump, Lee Hayashin secretly thought in his heart. Colossus, my freezing power has increased a bit recently, you have to be careful. The man who came with Colossus was Poppy the Iceman. The two are old friends. Just come. Colossus immediately clashed his fists together, making a bang-bang sound. I'm going up. Iceman Bobby smiled and immediately pressed his hands to the ground. Kai Kai. In an instant, a wave of blue light burst out with him as the center, waves of cold air spread like ripples. The surrounding water molecules were directly frozen into ice, and the entire open space turned into a world of ice. Colossus' feet were suddenly wrapped in streaks of cold air, as if to freeze him. This cold air can't freeze me. Colossus suddenly exerted force on his legs. Boom! The terrifying giant force instantly shattered the frost wrapped around his legs. The ground even began to crack. These two guys. Seeing this scene, Orlo shook his head helplessly. Looks like the place is going to be repaired after the fact. Old friend, let's make out. Colossus immediately ran up. I don't want to make out with a big guy like you. Iceman Bobby smiled, and then the blue light flashed all over his body again. In an instant, 3 ice walls more than 10 centimeters thick appeared in front of him. Colossus hit it instantly, making a loud bang bang bang. The 3 ice walls did not stop him for a moment. Worthy of being a Colossus, it's really fierce. When Lee Hayashin saw this scene, his eyes flickered. Because of his current strength of 21 tons, he can also do this. That's right. These days Lee Hayashin has improved rapidly. His strength has increased from 11 tons a few days ago to 21 tons. Terrible. So it can also do the scene in front of you. But definitely not as chic as Colossus. After all, although Lee Hayashin's becoming stronger is an all-round improvement. Skin toughness, muscle strength, etc. are also very strong. But for the time being, it can't compare with a monster like Colossus who can turn his whole body into metal. Go with. Seeing Colossus, he rushed over like a tank. Iceman Bobby suddenly waved his hands, and the air under his feet condensed into ice. He immediately slid on it like surfing. The speed increased instantly. At the same time, I saw him waving his hands quickly. In an instant, football-sized hockey pucks appeared in front of him. Whoosh whoosh tilde. The next moment these ice balls were like shells, rushing towards Colossus crazily. Although these ice balls do not contain explosives, they have no blasting power. But under the impact of extreme speed, there is still terrifying power. Especially the ice puck contained terrifying power of freezing, and Willy was no worse than ordinary shells. The figure of Colossus was immediately blocked by these ice pucks, and he couldn't help but pause. But it was just leaving some white marks on the opponent's body. Colossus' defense. It can be seen. The strength of Colossus and Bobby the Iceman's control over the freezing power is much stronger than in the movie. Lee Hayashin's eyes flashed suddenly, and he muttered to himself. After all, in the film and television, the Iceman trash can only attack with cold air from both hands. The power is too weak. But now it seems that whether he releases the speed of the ice wall or controls the rapid attack of the ice puck, they are all very skilled and powerful. This is completely different from the Iceman Bobby in Lee Hayashin's impression. So, obviously, this world is different from the movies and TV dramas he is familiar with. There are still some gaps. This also made Lee Hayashin more vigilant. Never underestimate anyone. Otherwise, it is very likely that the ship will capsize in the gutter. P.S. Sign the contract. So happy. If there are readers who like to read beautiful comics, please support them. Writing a book is not easy. Please water the seedlings carefully. 5-star praise and free gifts if possible. Please give some to the author. Thank you. Chapter 12 Shocking Battle. I can't break my defense with your attack, Colossus said suddenly. As expected of Colossus, powerful and fast, it is simply a humanoid tank. Lee Hayashin couldn't help sighing. The opponent's strength is indeed not weak, and the two sides fight back and forth. It does look stunning. This immersive feeling of watching a real battle on the spot. It is incomparable to any 3D movie and VR. Don't worry, I still have many means prepared for you. Iceman Bobby laughed and rushed up again. His feet slid on the ice like surfing, making the speed increase several times. This time, several ice sledgehammers appeared beside Colossus. Each sledgehammer is the size of a millstone, and it looks shocking. Hey. Seeing this scene, Lee Hayashin's expression became strange. Because Iceman Bobby's control over ice at this moment reminds him of Gray in Fairy Tale. Ice Mage. And at this moment, Bobby the Iceman's control over ice seems to be no worse than Gray the Ice Stylist. Boom! Colossus was directly blown away by the sledgehammer, but he didn't wait for him to fall. Another sledgehammer came again. In this way, Colossus was abruptly beaten by Bobby, who hammered back and forth in the air with the ice sledgehammer. It seems that Iceman does seem to be Omega level, and Colossus is a little bit worse. Bobby the Iceman has started to suppress Colossus. Lee Hayashin thought for a moment. In fact, he is almost the same as Colossus at the moment, and also belongs to the melee fighting type. And in terms of strength, the current Colossus should be stronger than, for example, Hayashin. In addition, although the defense of the two is similar. But Colossus is more comprehensive, while Lee Hayashin focuses on skin toughness and muscle strength. But in terms of absolute defense, it is worse than the Colossus who can turn into a steel monster. If I fight Poppy the Iceman? He suddenly thought about it. If it is he who is fighting Iceman Bobby at this moment. So how does Lee Hayashin deal with Bobby the Iceman, who has a powerful ability to control ice like an ice mage? If you compare it with Colossus. Lee Hayashin suddenly had a thought and opened the attribute panel. Host Lee Hayashin. Strength 21 tons. Spirit 191, 3 for normal people. Physical strength 1810 for ordinary people. Speed 100 ms. System space 100 cubic meters. Possessed systems, mental shielding system, sun exposure to become stronger system. My strength is now 21 tons, which should be much weaker than Colossus. But my speed has reached 100 ms, which should be much faster than Colossus. That's why Bobby the Iceman is inferior to me. Lee Hayashin can roughly estimate that Bobby the Iceman is normal. The speed should be at the level of 40-50 m/s. When walking on ice, the speed nearly doubles, reaching the level of 80-90 m/s. Although this is already close to Lee Hayashin, there is a gap of 10 meters per second. But the key to victory. What's more, Lee Hayashin's speed and strength are increasing rapidly every day. There is no sign of decadence yet. And my mental strength has reached 63 times that of ordinary people. So in terms of reaction speed and flexibility, the opponent is definitely not as good as me. As long as you don't use the prince's fighting method, whether it's against Colossus or Iceman Bobby, I won't lose. Lee Hayashin immediately speculated. As expected of a Colossus, it's fine to be bombarded so violently. I heard that even rockets and tank guns can't break through his defense in the form of his whole body being tempered. At this time, Clarice next to her whispered, "You know it very well." Lee Hayashin suddenly looked at Clarice with a half-smile. "Lee, don't think too much, I have nothing to him. It's just that in normal times, I followed what the teacher said to collect more information about the students. This will help in the future to be able to fight side by side together." Clarice quickly explained to Lee Hayashin. "Needless to say so much, I believe in you." Lee Hayashin shook his head helplessly. He just wanted to make a joke with Clarice, but he didn't think of it. This little girl thinks so much. Those who didn't know thought he fucked her. Okay, stop. At this moment, Orlo, the storm girl on the small podium, waved her hand. Indicate that Colossus and Iceman Bobby don't have to fight anymore. You two are very good, especially Colossus. It seems that your defense is stronger again. Bobby is also very powerful, your ice sledgehammer attack is really creative. Cyclops Scott stepped out immediately and commented on the two of them. Hey Colossus, your skin is really thick enough. Iceman Bobby said with a smile. But your big ice hammer, it makes me itch so badly. Colossus couldn't help but complain. Okay, you two go down, next is Orlo and Newt Guy. Soon another mutant with a slightly smaller stature came up. His ability is short-distance teleportation. Although it is not as convenient as Nightcrawler's teleportation, it is faster. And it's more casual, without as many restrictions as Nightcrawler. As soon as he makes a shot, he is dazzled and teleports everywhere. It's just a pity that he met the storm girl Orlo. I saw Orlo wave his arms. In an instant, a gust of wind filled the surroundings, and streaks of lightning seemed to appear out of thin air. In an instant, the newt cover was stuck in the strong wind, as if it had been dry-cleaned by a dry-cleaning machine. Being directly disturbed, he turned his back on his back and immediately lost his combat effectiveness. It is obviously the best at fighting attrition wars, the ability to consume people alive. After meeting the Storm Girl, she didn't even persist for a minute. The battle ended almost instantly. It can also be seen from this that there is a huge gap in combat experience between the two. Next, several mutants fought against Poppy, Colossus, and Cyclops. This battle after battle really opened Lee Hayashin's horizons. After all, how can those fighting scenes seen in movies and TV before really compare with this shocking scene in reality? One is burning expenses and the other is real sweat. So after this actual combat training, his vision has indeed been broadened a lot, and he has also gained a lot of experience. In particular, he has a mental power 63 times higher than that of ordinary people, which makes him almost impossible to forget. Learned a lot of fighting skills and combat experience. At the same time, I also have some understanding of the abilities of more mutants. This can't help but make Lee Hayashin sigh. The abilities of mutants are really varied. Much more than what he saw in movies and TV. Just when he was fascinated and full of gains, Cyclops Scott suddenly walked over. Orlo thinks highly of you, and the professor is looking forward to you. So next, I will arrange Colossus to be your training partner. Both of you are powerful mutants, I hope you can gain something. Cyclops Scott spoke. Chapter 13. This punch is 20 tons, does it hurt to hit the face? Fight against Colossus. Lee Hayashin's heart skipped a beat when he heard the words. In fact, just now he saw the battle between Colossus and Iceman Bobby was a little fiery. From some aspects, Lee Hayashin can also be regarded as a powerful mutant. Of course only for now. After all, Lee Hayashin's improvement is all-round, and the Steel Warrior has strong strength and high defense. But the attack method is single, and the shortcomings are obvious. As far as Lee Hayashin's X-Gene ability is concerned, he will definitely be a comprehensive player in the future. This is not what Colossus can compare. It is good. Lee Hayashin nodded immediately. Dong 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 tilde. Colossus immediately walked to the open space in front of the small podium again. Come on, Junior. But he didn't change. Obviously, in the eyes of Colossus, Lee Hayashin, a junior student in the lower grades, is not worthy of his transformation. Lee, come on. Clarice next to her immediately cheered Lee Hayashin up. This is Lee Hayashin. I heard that he couldn't control his mutant ability at all before. There was an explosion a few days ago. Mr. Scott actually asked him to fight Colossus. It's too flattering for him. I think he won't be able to hold on for more than 5 minutes. The people around immediately started talking. Don't say that, Lee is also our classmate, everyone should support him. The Phantom Cat Katie next to her spoke. Although the original body is not good at talking, the only one with whom he has a good relationship is Katie the Phantom Cat. Don't talk nonsense, Lee, it's very strong. Clarice immediately summoned up her courage and spoke to the people around her. Others don't know, but Clarice knows that Lee Hayashin is very powerful. Even Jason, a purely powerful mutant, couldn't stop his punch. Hey, isn't this our boring gourd, Clarice? How dare you talk like that now? A long-faced senior student next to him said jokingly. You. Clarice's eyes turned red when she heard the words, feeling aggrieved. But with a gentle personality, she didn't know how to refute at all. She could only bite her red lips lightly with her white teeth, pinch her fingers with teary eyes, and stand aside aggrieved. Shut your mouth, otherwise I don't mind teaching you a lesson before fighting Colossus again. Lee Hayashin looked at that person immediately, a sternness flashed in his eyes. This world is very dangerous, and he never wanted to be the first bird. I didn't even think about being a Superman in the past to save the world. But if someone bullies his friend, Lee Haoshin will never agree easily. The man wanted to speak, but when he saw Lee Haoshin's eyes, his heart trembled. Keba, you are a senior classmate, how can you bully a junior classmate? Orlo, the storm girl, frowned suddenly and said aloud. Before talking to the professor, she was often bullied. This made Orlo hate bullies. Feel sorry. The young man with a long face, Keba, suddenly smiled awkwardly and found a way to go down. Come on, Junior, let me see how strong you are. Orlo strongly recommended you, thinking that your potential is no worse than mine. And it's also a mutant type who is good at strength. Colossus said suddenly. He was a little curious, after all, Orlo had a high vision. But the other party mentioned Lee Haoshin several times in front of Colossus. Senior Colossus, I think it's better for you to metalize first. Lee Haoshin raised his eyebrows and said. It's fine if you fight against the enemy. If the opponent carelessly underestimates him, you can catch him by surprise. But after all, at this moment, they are only competing with Colossus. Lee Haoshin didn't want to take advantage of the other party, and he didn't want to be accused by the other party of attacking him. And he also wants to know how strong his current strength is. He didn't show his strength at all when he fought against the three of Jason. All right. Hearing this, Colossus nodded immediately. In fact, in his opinion, there is no need for metallization at all to fight Lee Haoshin. After all, due to the X gene, even in his normal state, his strength is astonishing. It's just that out of maintaining Lee Haoshin's self-esteem, he still chose to be metallized. Senior, here I come. Boom. Lee Haoshin's expression froze immediately, and he kicked hard. He didn't take the temptation, but directly exerted his full strength as soon as he came up. When Colossus fought Poppy the Iceman earlier, he took it very seriously. The opponent has strong strength and high defense, but the attack is single and slow. Such an opponent is the easiest for Lee Haoshin. The terrifying power immediately cracked the ground. Lee Haoshin rushed out like a cannonball. So fast. Colossus' face suddenly changed. He didn't expect Lee Haoshin's speed to be so fast. And the strength of the opponent seems to be no small matter. In the blink of an eye, Lee Haoshin came in front of Colossus. With terrible inertia, Lee Haoshin punched Colossus in the face. With the power of 21 tons. The combined punch is even more powerful than cannonballs. With a bang, Colossus actually responded and flew upside down. It hit the ground fiercely, drawing a ditch on the ground. Zug. Suddenly everyone was stunned. They couldn't believe it and looked at the scene in front of them. Known for his strength, he is like a steel warrior of steel tanks. He was blown away with a punch. What a terrible power. I just said that there is no metallization. This punch is enough to seriously injure me. Colossus slowly got up from the ground, with a serious look on his face. Student, you are very strong. I'm going to be serious next time. He hummed. Bring it on. There was also a smile on Lee Haoshin's face. He didn't hold back the slightest punch from the punch just now. A full 21 tons of terrifying force blasted on Colossus' face. It didn't even cause harm to the other party. It can be seen that the opponent's steel structure body is really powerful. Dong 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 tilde. Colossus also started to run immediately, rushing towards Lee Haoshin. Good come. Seeing this scene, Lee Haoshin went forward instead of retreating. Boom. The two immediately faced each other with fists, making ear-piercing roars. Terrible power like two hammers banging together heavily. My god. Lee Haoshin actually confronted Colossus. The two are evenly matched. Too frightening. For a moment, the people watching the excitement around couldn't help but exclaimed. This was the first time they saw someone talking to Colossus. To be able to fight in close quarters like this. Slightly sore but bearable. Lee Haoshin's eyes flashed immediately, and he had an accurate understanding of his skin toughness and bone strength. Bang 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 tilde. In an instant, the two quickly clashed crazily. Fist to the flesh making a dull sound. Seeing the students around, their blood boiled immediately. Some people couldn't help roaring, shouting, and whistling. This is the battle between men. Chapter 14 Short-lived warmth. I slept soundly this time. Boom! The terrifying power immediately turned into a terrifying hurricane between collisions. The students watching the bustle all around were rattling in their clothes. A few students wearing short skirts were blown up even more. But the students around were watching the fight between the two fierce men with all their blood. I didn't see this great scenery at all. The battle between the two became more and more intense, surpassing the previous battle between Colossus and Iceman Bobby. Especially since both of them are strength type, the damage to the training ground is also very obvious. As the two of them entered the white-hot stage, Lee Hayashin's attributes of balance in all aspects began to be revealed. Colossus began to have a slight disadvantage. Roar! And Colossus seems to have been impatient. He has always been relatively gentle. At this moment, he couldn't help becoming irritable. The strength of the whole body has been raised to a limit. Okay, you two stop. At this time, Cyclops Scott came out. He has already seen that if the fight continues, Colossus will most likely lose to Lee Hayashin. Although the Colossus is more dominant in terms of strength and defense, even much stronger than Lee Hayashin. But Lee Hayashin is faster, with more physical strength, endurance, and even resilience. Even more than Colossus. This makes the longer the time, the smaller the gap between Lee Hayashin and Colossus. It seems that Orlo is right, Lee Hayashin's mutant ability is indeed very strong. Not just power. Scott immediately discovered some clues. Lee, you are really strong, and no one in the entire academy can compete with me in terms of strength. You are the first and only one. Colossus immediately returned to normal. But the admiration in his eyes was obvious. After all, he is several years older than Lee Hayashin. Senior Colossus, you are also very strong, especially after you use your mutant ability. It's like I'm fighting an iron lump. Lee Hayashin couldn't help but smile too. The strength of the opponent is only slightly stronger than him. But when he really started fighting, Lee Hayashin was a little bit restrained. After all, Colossus' mutant ability can transform his whole body into a steel-like substance. This substance is not steel, its hardness is second only to Edmund alloy and vibranium. Enough to resist 110 howitzer attack. It can even withstand the impact of a 1-ton truck loaded with 450 pounds of TNT at a speed of 100 miles per hour. This terrible defensive power made Lee Hayashin really tired from fighting. As for Lee Hayashin, although his skin toughness, bone strength, and even muscle resistance are all very strong. But it is still worse than the Colossus in the steel form. Therefore, they can only rely on crazy attacks to consume the stamina and physical strength of Colossus. It's a pity that Colossus itself also has super endurance. Otherwise, under the attack of Lee Hayashin's terrible power of the storm, he would have been defeated long ago. However, Lee Hayashin still has a strong recovery ability, which is beyond the reach of Colossus. He is strong in all aspects. If he continued to fight at most 1 hour, Lee Hayashin could exhaust the strength of the Colossus. Okay, you two stop flattering each other. Now we all know Xavier College, you two are macho. At this time, Storm Lady Allura also came down and said with a smile. The battle between Colossus and Lee Hayashin made her very satisfied. And Colossus has long been included in the X-Men list. As for Lee Hayashin, she has already told Professor X. Earlier, the professor had also invited Lee Hayashin. It's just that Lee Hayashin has not agreed yet. But in Orlo's view, Lee Hayashin will definitely join them. In this way, the X-Men team becomes stronger. Melee fighting teammates have always been reassuring. Whoa. Suddenly there was applause from all around. At this moment, no one dared to underestimate Lee Hayashin anymore. Many people even regarded Lee Hayashin as their idol. Adolescent boys and girls naturally worship the strong. Especially Lee Hayashin, who is still a student just like them. But he was already able to fight to this extent with the senior Ganglishi. For them, this is shocking and motivating. It is the progress they can see. After all, teachers like Cyclops Scott, Storm Aurora, Professor X, etc. are too powerful. He has long been a famous figure in the mutant world. To Lee Haoshin, just like them, he is just a student and he didn't show his face before. It can be said to be mediocre. This gave them even more hope. Lee, you performed very well in the battle just now, but there are still some flaws. Cyclops Scott said immediately. Then he spoke out some small disadvantages that he had barely seen before. In fact, these things don't affect the key to Lee Haoshin's fight with Colossus at all. It doesn't even do much. But Scott is a teacher of the college after all, and he boasted before. Said that it can help Lee Haoshin so that he can gain something. This family fought a big battle and they fought beautifully. If Scott doesn't say something, he always feels embarrassed. Lee Haoshin also saw this point, but he saw it through, but he didn't say it through. There was nothing to lose for him anyway. In the end, Scott, Orlo, and others only ordered some experience and combat skills. Lee, you are really amazing. Phantom Cat Kitty walked over and said excitedly. Good. Lee Haoshin smiled. Are you hungry? At this time, Claris came over and asked in a low voice. Sure enough, you still understand me. Seeing this shy girl, Lee Haoshin immediately reached out and rubbed her head. Let's go to the cafeteria together. Claris immediately lowered her head, her face turned even redder and her voice was almost lost. The battle just now did consume a lot of Lee Haoshin's energy. Now I really need to add something. Of course. Besides going to the cafeteria to eat food, Lee Haoshin has another way to replenish his energy. That is basking in the sun. His system becomes stronger when exposed to the sun, not just his physical data. Even physical strength can be recovered quickly. Appears to be able to convert solar energy into bioenergy. It's amazing. Let's go. The two left the training ground immediately and went to the cafeteria to eat. Although basking in the sun can replenish physical strength. But Lee Haoshin still prefers to enjoy the fun of eating food. I have to say that the cafeteria at Xavier College is pretty good. Even if it is some fast food and Western food, the taste is no worse than that of restaurants outside. After eating, the two walked around the college again, looking like a young couple. Warm and romantic. Along the way, Lee Haoshin still told one or two nasty jokes to amuse Claris. Offended the other party, blushing to the ears. It wasn't until it was getting late that Lee Haoshin separated from Claris. After returning to the dormitory, he immediately lay down on the bed, enjoying a short period of peace. In his mind, he recalled the scene of fighting Colossus earlier. It has to be said that this battle has indeed benefited him a lot. After all, strictly speaking, this is Lee Haoshin's first battle after becoming a mutant. He hardly kept his hands back, and his strength, which was as strong as 21 tons, was exerted with all his strength. As for the last battle with Jason and others, Lee Haoshin didn't even count as a warm-up. However, my method is actually a bit simple. The combat skills are similar to Colossus, but in fact, I should be more flexible. When I was in battle, I didn't show my advantage. This shows that my combat awareness is still a bit weak, and I should strengthen my talent in this area. Also, the ability to transform still looks a bit handsome. The elementalization of Poppy Iceman, the metallization of Colossus, and even Orlo the Storm Girl is forced by the cold air all over his body since Zio * said in Group 9. 80205-8-5/6 stupid, dumb thunder and lightning flashing. Full of special effects. Next time. Should I also get an ability with special effects? After thinking about it, Lee Haoshin fell asleep. This feeling. Good smell. Chapter 15, The Powerful Third System. Time is fleeting. In a flash of such a life, another 5 days passed. This morning, Lee Haoshin was teaching in the big classroom. Originally bored, he lay on his stomach sleepily. Claris next to her was taking notes seriously, while sneaking a glance at Lee Haoshin from time to time. Looking at the handsome Lee Haoshin, Claris couldn't help but put her hand towards him quietly. The white and slender fingers lightly touched his nose. In fact, Claris just wanted to play a prank among best friends. But at this moment, Lee Haoshin suddenly trembled and raised his head abruptly. What? Claris was startled. You. Did I hurt you? Seeing Lee Haoshin's reaction, Claris's expression suddenly changed, and she was about to cry. No. You are fine. Lee Haoshin's face was full of joy. He even couldn't help but kiss the other party's flamboyant little face. Fortunately, this is a big classroom and they are in the back corner. Otherwise, Claris would dig a hole shyly and get in. Snapped. Claris blushed immediately, not daring to look at Lee Haoshin again. He kissed me. Lee Haoshin's move immediately made Claris's heart pound like a deer. A small face that can be broken by blows like a ripe peach. Very cute. But now Lee Haoshin is not in the mood to appreciate the scenery. The power of the rules is full. Lee Haoshin was full of joy, and a trace of excitement flashed in his eyes. After waiting for so many days, I finally fully charged the power of rules again. He's been waiting for this moment. Finally, you can create a system again. These days, Lee Haoshin has thought about it for a long time. Even made several lists. Breathing becomes stronger system, invincible upgrade system, wireless enhancement system, one-punch invincible system, god-level inheritance system, etc. It's just that these systems are ideal systems in his imagination. As for the power of rules, is it enough to create them? He still needs to try one by one to know whether it is possible. However, Lee Haoshin has created 2 systems after all. So he also had some guesses. It creates the rule power of the system, and its original power comes from the X gene in the body. In Marvel settings, mutants on Earth possess the X gene. Basically, countless years ago, the celestial group came to the Earth and endowed some humans with random and mutated genes on the basis of human genes. It's just that the mutated X gene is complex and random. Its upper limit can be very low, and its birth is similar to the officially certified wateriest mutant Bailey's one-time human fireworks. But it can also be high. For example, Franklin Richards is completely unreasonable, and he is always the Marvel's strongest elementary school student who can create his own pocket universe. And the mutation ability produced by the X gene almost covers the power of the entire universe. Mutant abilities ranging from the animal department to the physics department to the magic department to the rule department and so on. This also makes it difficult to estimate the strength of mutants. Lee Haoshin's X gene belongs to the domain of the rule system. As for how high its upper limit is, it is temporarily uncertain. Although I can't determine the upper limit of the X gene, I just need to use my strength to break the limit again and again. Lee Haoshin suddenly thought secretly in his heart. Start creating. Next moment. He immediately started to create the system with ease. The system that he had planned to try earlier was immediately experimented by him. Breathing is the invincible system, creating failure. Hundreds of billions of multiplier systems, failure to create. One-punch invincible system, creation failure. Unlimited explosion system, creation failure. God-level inheritance system, successful creation. Finally, after more than a dozen attempts, Lee Haoshin succeeded in creating it. Ding! Master, please choose a God-level inheritance template. Might Kai, Sasuke, Uzumaki Naruto, Kurosaki Ichigo, Astro Boy, Black Cat Sheriff, Sakazuki Paluzolino Gray, Edogawa Conan, Gojo Satoru, Edward Elric, Jay Frisch, Jintoki Sakata, Ellen Yeager, Hanamichi Sakuragi, Tanjiro Kamado, Vegeta, Kame Senjin, Kakarot Son Goku, Gord Baby Dawa, Gord Baby Grandpa. Immediately, tens of thousands of character templates flashed through Lee Haoshin's mind. I'm not familiar with many of them, so I'll choose him. Lee Haoshin didn't hesitate immediately and chose a character from a familiar anime. Dragon Ball World, Saiyans on Earth, Kakarot Son Goku. Ding! Congratulations to the master, the god-level inheritance system has been awakened successfully and the character template has been obtained, Kakarot Son Wukong. Next moment. An attribute panel appeared in front of Lee Haoshin's eyes. Character Kakarot Son Goku. Race Saiyan. Progress 5%. Abilities Dancing Kongshu, Turtle Shockwave, Sun Fist, Controlling Chi, Energy Bullet, Violence. Transformation Saiyan Giant Ape. Combat power is increased by 10 times and more than 1700 million Bruz waves are required. Talent Blood of Battle. Only 5% of the process is unlocked. Lee Haoshin was immediately disappointed. But after looking at his abilities and talents, he still became excited. Because he discovered that the system of strengthening after exposure to the sun can be superimposed with the god-level inheritance system. So, Lee Haoshin does not need to practice as hard as Sun Wukong in the original book, he only needs to bask in the sun to enhance the inheritance process. Once the inheritance progress is improved, Lee Haoshin's power will also become stronger. Although there is only one transformation of the Saiyan giant ape, the following Super Saiyan 1, 2, 3, 4, as well as Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan, Super Silver under the Extreme Intention skill and the legendary White God form. Lee Haoshin immediately looked forward to it. It can be said that in Dragon Ball, although Monkey King is not the strongest, but it has been crazily breaking through the limit, getting stronger and stronger. It seems that the bottleneck and limit that people talk about doesn't exist in him at all. Very good. In this way, my combat power can be greatly guaranteed. You don't need to have power for nothing and you can't use it. Lee Haoshin suddenly became excited. Because in the inheritance, all the power of Monkey King will be passed on to Lee Haoshin. He seems to be born with it. This is the aura of the protagonist, this is life. Although the power of rules was exhausted again. But this time Lee Haoshin was very satisfied. Worth it. Not only does it satisfy his strength improvement, but also the subsequent transformation and violence are full of special effects. For the use of chi, it is also extremely gorgeous. Saiyan's blood, I don't know how many levels of mutants are considered. He couldn't help but laugh. Chapter 16. College Canteen. Lee, you look very happy. Clarice asked curiously. It seems that Lee Haoshin has been smiling since the class just now. This made Clarice a little puzzled. Is there any simple good thing that can't be done? Of course there is. Lee Haoshin thought secretly in his heart. Just as he guessed, the system of becoming stronger after basking in the sun can indeed be superimposed with his god-level inheritance system. After basking in the sun for half a morning, his progress has reached the value of 5% from 3%. Although the transformation has no new form, he can feel it. The chi in the body has at least doubled. Now Lee Haoshin can already feel chi. If he is willing, the entire Xavier Academy can be instantly felt by him. It's just that the strength of mutants is mainly derived from the abilities brought about by the X gene. It has nothing to do with the size of the breath. Just like in perception, Colossus' aura far exceeds that of Professor X. But in terms of strength, the Professor can easily defeat Colossus. But for Lee Haoshin, as long as his chi becomes stronger, then his strength must increase. And Lee Haoshin does not need to practice as hard as Vegeta, Kakarot and others in the original book to be able to increase the strength of chi. He only needs to bask in the sun, and he can easily increase the strength of chi. This is the benefit of his X gene. It seems that it won't be long before I can surpass the Professor, Cyclops and the others. Lee Haoshin secretly thought in his heart. Based on his observations these days and his insights from the last actual combat training, he has found out. The character settings in this world surpass those of the film and television dramas I have seen before, but much weaker than in the comics. After all, in the comics, Bobby the Iceman can even freeze the world, and Orlo the Storm can control the atmosphere of the Earth. Even Cyclops Scott enough to smash planets. Not to mention the stronger Professor X and Magneto. But the reality is, let alone pushing everything horizontally, they were even persecuted by ordinary people and left scarred. And it only took me a few days and I'm almost the same as Colossus. If I use my transformation ability now, even Colossus might not be my opponent. A smile appeared on Lee Haoshin's face again. It's just that the Saiyan wants to become a gorilla and enter the Saiyan giant ape form. It also needs full moon exposure. At least the radiation of 700 million Brutz waves is enough. But Lee Haoshin is not in a hurry. After all, his upper limit is too high. There are also Super Saiyan forms, Super God Red, Super Saiyan Blue and other forms. When the time comes to explode stars or even break the universe, no Professor, Magneto, even the Hulk, Thor, and the others will be vulnerable. Lee, what are you laughing at? At this time, Kitty the Phantom Cat also came over with a plate. Do you mind eating together? Katie looked at Clarice with a slight hint of provocation. Do not mind. Clarice was taken aback for a moment, not quite understanding what Katie meant. After all, she didn't offend Katie. Lee, I really didn't expect that you are so strong that you can fight like Colossus. Katie immediately praised it. Women like strong men, even mutants. Originally, Katie had a good relationship with Yuenshin. After all, Lee Hayashin is really handsome. The handsomeness of Oriental men is not comparable to that of Western men. Seeing that the other party is so strong now, I feel even more fond of it. After eating in a while, do you want to go to the movies? Katie immediately sent an invitation. Xavier College also has a small cinema. It's a movie theater, it's like a multimedia classroom. But the decoration is very good. This also made Lee Hayashin couldn't help but admire another ability of the professor. Hey. Clarice next to her suddenly had red eyes, feeling a little aggrieved. Now she finally understood why Katie had said that just now. It turned out that the other party also wanted to chase Lee Hayashin and regarded her as a rival in love. When she heard that the other party invited Lee Hayashin to watch a movie, Clarice suddenly felt uncomfortable. Especially Katie's looks, considered a little beauty. Especially Western girls are more open and forthright and also more provocative. This is beyond Clarice. For a while she felt a little uncomfortable and her nose couldn't help but feel sore. Sorry, I'm going to bask in the sun. Lee Hayashin smiled and shook his head. Where does he have time to go to the movies? That place is Black Blondin. The afternoon sun is the most comfortable. Especially when his strength soared, how could Lee Hayashin go to the movies? Women can see it, before they become stronger they must not go deep. Otherwise, it will only affect the speed at which I become stronger. Basking in the sun. Chinese letter, 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 asterisk Chinese letter and Chinese letter 980205 tilde 8 5/6 Chinese letter. You must know that she can be regarded as the little beauty of the college, and there are many people who pursue Katie. It's just that Katie also has high vision, which most people don't like. There are many people who want to invite her to watch a movie. But he didn't expect that Lee Hayashin would say sunbathing and rejected him. Is it because of Clarice? Katie immediately took what Lee Hayashin said as an excuse to refuse. After all, who would believe that some people choose to bask in the sun instead of watching movies with beautiful women? I will not give up. Although she was rejected by Lee Hayashin, Katie looked at Clarice with a sharp look in her eyes. After eating, I'm going to bask in the sun. Lee Hayashin didn't pay attention to the weird atmosphere. After all, for him, the sun is the most important thing. Although it is still unclear when the crisis will come, Lee Hayashin knows that it will arrive soon. Therefore, before the crisis comes, at least the strength must be increased by dozens or hundreds of times. Otherwise, how dangerous? And if you want to be strong, you have to work hard. Work hard in the sun. Leaving the cafeteria, Lee Hayashin walked straight towards the small park. There is a green grass field, which is also the place where the sun is most abundant in the afternoon. He likes to lie there, basking in the warm wind and sun. Thank you, Lee. Lee Hayashin closed his eyes, lying on the grass, and after a while, a faint fragrance came and Clarice sat beside him. This inexplicable thanks made Lee Hayashin a little confused. Puff. Clarice was also beside him, lying down quietly. Although puzzled, Lee Hayashin didn't say much. Just enjoying the afternoon sun quietly. Feel the more powerful chi in the body. Time passed little by little. In a blink of an eye, it was another 3 days. In the afternoon of this day, Lee Hayashin basked in the sun and listened to the song, when suddenly his body trembled. Because the chi in his body suddenly underwent a drastic change. There seemed to be a terrifying potential somewhere in the body. It exploded out of thin air. Powerful, scary. Chapter 17, the first level of Super Saiyan. Boom! This powerful force erupted from the body. For a moment, Lee Hayashin felt that the whole person had become different. Although he hasn't released his chi yet, he knows it. I have definitely become stronger. If it was said that his chi was a big water tank filled with good things before, then it is a small river at this moment. This is already an essential difference. One is stagnant water, and the other has infinite possibilities. It seems that it can turn into a big river, or even go to the infinite sea at any time. The sudden change shocked Lee Hayashin. The powerful force is like the river water rushing out of the water tank in an instant. It broke through the water tank and exploded. Boom! In an instant, a terrifying chi erupted from Lee Hayashin's body. This air presents a golden light. Even people who cannot perceive chi can see it with their eyes. The golden airwaves are like flames, wrapping around Lee Hayashin. The powerful coercion directly lifted the surrounding turf away, and Clarice, who was lying next to her, was directly blown away more than 10 meters away. Could it be? With a sudden thought, Lee Hayashin opened the attribute panel of the inherited character. Really? I saw that the above data has changed. Character Kakarot Son Goku. Race Saiyan. Progress 10-1%. Abilities Dancing Kongshu, Turtle Shockwave, Sun Fist, Control Chi, Energy Bullet, Violence, High-Speed Flight, Teleportation. Transformation, Super Saiyan 1 Level 10, Saiyan Giant Ape, Combat Power increased by 1700 times, need more than million Bruzibo. Talent Blood of Battle. Sure enough, the Super Saiyan transformation has been unlocked. Lee Hayashin suddenly became excited. You must know that Super Saiyan is not a concept at all with Saiyan. And also mastered teleportation. This is a very powerful ability to save lives. As long as the distance of Lee Hayashin's sensor is wide enough, the teleportation distance will be large enough. With the chi of the first stage of Lee Hayashin's Super Saiyan, it is enough to perceive the whole world. I finally have the power to protect myself. From this moment on, Lee Hayashin finally felt a little relieved. Although it is not yet known whether Super Saiyan Section 1 will be able to dominate the Marvel Universe. But at least on Earth, not many can kill him. But Lee Hayashin will not be careless. After all, the abilities of mutants are complex and changeable, not inferior to superpowers. And there are many superpowers in Dragon Ball, but they are very powerful and can even make Super Saiyan feel tricky. For example, Hit in Dragon Ball Super, his flash time is very difficult. In the first confrontation, if there is no intelligence, it is very likely to be killed in one hit. And mutants definitely have abilities no less than Shinchi's. For example, under the rapidity of Kyuyin, time almost stopped. There are many similar mutant abilities, so even with the Super Saiyan transformation, Lee Hayashin will not be careless. Unless he waits until he is fully 100% Kakarot's ability. But even if Kakarot's ability is fully inherited, I don't know if he can beat Thanos with gloves. Lee Hayashin was a little curious. But if I can fully inherit the ability of Quan Wang, Thanos should be a trivial matter. He secretly thought in his heart. It's just that if you want to inherit the king, you need a lot of power of rules. At least one has to understand that Lee Hayashin becomes stronger, and it is possible for the X gene to become stronger. After throwing these things to the back of his mind, Lee Hayashin immediately studied the first level of Super Saiyan 1 that he had just unlocked. So it is. After Lee Hayashin's careful study, he finally understood. In the form of Super Saiyan 1, there are actually 4 stages. They are Super Saiyan 1 Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3 and full power. However, judging by my current enhancement speed, it won't be long before I break through to Super Saiyan 2. So although Lee Hayashin was a little curious, he didn't study these too much anymore. Because he became stronger too fast. What a beautiful day. Anyway, after unlocking the Super Saiyan form, Lee Hayashin's strength has at least increased 100-fold. I don't know if I can beat Cyclops and Storm Girl now. Lee Hayashin became a little curious. After all, in the first stage of Super Saiyan 1, if you use the shock wave of the turtle with all your strength, it is enough to smash the earth. By the way, although Super Saiyans are powerful, they cannot survive in the universe. It seems that next time I will create a small system that can allow myself to survive in the universe. Or add a character template that can survive in the universe. Majin Buu Frieza Cell. Suddenly some thoughts flashed through Lee Hayashin's mind. The strength of these people, although not as good as Kakaro's later stage. But it has a lot of superpowers and can survive perfectly in the universe. Especially Majin Buu, as long as there is one cell left, he can be resurrected again. This ability is still very useful. Gods of destruction and angels require too much rule power, but correspondingly speaking, Majin Buu and Frieza have much less power. Lee Hayashin made a decision immediately. After all, in terms of combat power, it still relies on Kakarot's inheritance. The template of Majin Buu or Frieza is only used to increase some superpowers and the ability to survive in the universe. These golden auras are really beautiful. Lee Hayashin raised his hand, looking at the Super Saiyan chi wrapped around his body. His eyes became brighter. Finally, I also have special effects. Although Lee Hayashin was powerful before, it was only manifested in pure strength. It looks unremarkable, without any strong appearance. This made Lee Hayashin, who had also passed secondary school, quite regretful. But now there is. The chi that continues to wrap around the body is like a burning golden flame. Dazzling, full of power. Zwish. Lee Hayashin took a deep breath and then he took it back. Lee Yu. Seeing the golden flames around Lee Hayashin disappear, Claris walked over cautiously. There was a trace of worry on his face. After all, Claris was at a loss for such a sudden change. Don't worry, it's not a bad thing. I just seem to have awakened to a new mutant ability. Lee Hayashin said with a smile. Anyway, mutant abilities are diverse, complex, and illogical. He wasn't worried about being found out at all. Is this your new mutant ability? It's incredible, it looks like a burning golden flame. Could it be that your newly awakened ability is the energy system? Claris asked excitedly, her big eyes sparkling with curiosity. Energy system. Lee Hayashin was taken aback for a moment. P.S. Thank you for the unassisted reward on the 5th floor, becoming the first Krypton Gold boss in this book, powerful and domineering. Chapter 18, a small test of skill against Cyclops. Maybe. Lee Hayashin smiled. Strictly speaking, chi in the body is also a kind of energy. I really didn't expect that you have awakened a new ability. At this moment, Orlo the Storm and Cyclops Scott walked over not far away. Both of them had shock and excitement in their eyes. I just passed by accident just now, but I found Lee Hayashin, who was burning with golden flames all over his body. Is this the second awakening of the X gene? Cyclops Scott looked at Lee Hayashin, thinking secretly. Recently, I do feel that my body has become stronger. Just now, it seemed that there was a surge of energy in the body that was about to burst out. So I gave it a try. Lee Hayashin suddenly smiled and said, I don't know what type of energy form it is. Orlo the Storm was a little curious. Lee the Professor, let us go there. At this moment Cyclops Scott spoke. Looks like I can ask the Professor. Storm Maiden Orlo said with a smile. It is good. Lee Hayashin nodded. But in my heart there was a flash of strange color. The Professor didn't tell him directly telepathically, but to Cyclops Scott. Lee, it's getting better and better. Looking at the back of Lee Hayashin and others leading them away, a complex look flashed in Claris's eyes. Soon everyone came to Professor X's office. The door was not closed, so Lee Hayashin and others walked in directly. You are here, the Professor said with a smile. He looked at Lee Hayashin and said, Lee, I heard that you have awakened a new energy-type ability. Hey. Hearing the Professor's words, Lee Hayashin was speechless for a while. In fact, with the Professor's ability, the other party would have noticed when he exploded. With so many people around, the Professor can easily invade a person's mind and see his own transformation through the other's eyes. However, Lee Hayashin smiled slightly and nodded. It should be a new ability of some kind of energy system. I don't know the specific function yet. He said modestly. Anyway, the use of chi can take many forms. Shockwave Energy Cannon Sun Fist Chi Yuan slash Chi Manipulation Bullet. None of this is too difficult. Lee Hayashin, who can transform into the first level of Super Saiyan 1, can use all the tricks mentioned above. There are already so many abilities in his attribute panel that they can only be marked with an ellipsis. There are also some energy students in the academy, but it seems that the energy is not as strong as yours, said the professor. He felt that energy before, it was very powerful. There is definitely an alpha class. But the professor didn't know that Lee Hayashin's outburst of anger was less than 1,000th of that. Otherwise, if it explodes with all its strength, it is very likely that Xavier College will be flattened. Is it? I don't know very well. Lee Hayashin immediately touched his head and said with a smile. The second awakening of the ability of the X gene is very rare. I am also very happy that you can wake up, the professor said with a smile. It seems that your X gene is very likely related to your body. He thought about it again and said. In fact, even the professor is a little uncertain. What exactly is Lee Hayashin's mutant ability? Powerful power now awakened energy ability. Could it be the infinite body strengthening system? The professor thought secretly. This is a rather special type. It can strengthen the mutant's body infinitely. And once the body is strengthened to a certain limit, it will produce different strengths. For example, the eyes may have ray-like abilities. Or it can spit out powerful shock waves and ultrasonic waves. Or the mind becomes stronger and has the ability to read minds. In short, the 5 senses and limbs of the body may have additional abilities. This is the infinite strengthening system of the body. It's just this kind of mutant, not very common. In the academy, the more powerful energy system is Scott, as well as Bobby and Kane. When you are free, you can ask them for advice. The professor spoke immediately. I know Scott and Bobby, who is Kane. Lee Hayashin suddenly felt a little puzzled. But soon he found information about Kane in his memory. The opponent's mutant ability is an energy shock wave. It can hear the limbs and release powerful energy shock waves. It's a bit like Qigong wave. Lee Hayashin secretly thought in his heart. The professor chatted with everyone for a while before leaving Orlo to talk about things. Scott and Lee Hayashin left the office. Lee, do you want to go to the training ground and try out your newly awakened ability? At this moment, Scott suddenly spoke to Lee Hayashin. Not too good in case the training ground is destroyed. Hearing this, Lee Hayashin's heart was moved immediately, and he was also somewhat looking forward to it. After all, knowing Qigong waves and using Qigong waves are two different concepts. It's as if he has suddenly become Qiu Mingshen's car god, but if he doesn't drive for a few laps. How can you feel the coolness of the car god? But tricks such as Qigong waves and energy cannons are not easy to use. Don't worry, Mr. Bath is here, so don't worry. Scott laughed. Mr. Bath. Lee Hayashin was taken aback for a moment. Because there is no such teacher Bath in memory. Oh, you probably haven't seen it. Because Mr. Bath is not in charge of teaching, he is the maintenance teacher of the college. While speaking, Scott dragged Lee Hayashin to the training ground. Lee Hayashin was stunned when he saw the training ground. The damage caused by the last actual combat training has all been repaired. He was a little surprised before why the decoration team hadn't come to the academy yet. Now it seems that the college doesn't need any decoration team at all. Combined with what Scott said earlier, it is obvious that Mr. Bath. It should have some kind of special mutant ability which can repair the venue. Okay, let me be your partner, Cyclops said with a smile. In fact, he really wanted to see how strong Lee Hayashin's new ability was. After all, the golden flame that was burning earlier didn't look very strong. But it always made him feel in danger. It is good. Lee Hayashin's eyes suddenly brightened. He also wanted to play against Scott for a long time. This is a strength measurement unit to measure his current strength. Teacher, I'm on. With anticipation in mind, Lee Hayashin immediately took a deep breath. Then the muscles tensed, and the whole person mumbled and rushed out. Rumbled. The ground immediately cracked open, and Lee Hayashin's figure quickly turned into an afterimage. So fast. Scott's expression changed immediately. This speed is more than double that of the last time he fought Colossus. Chapter 19. Two bullying Cyclops cried. Now, even if I don't transform, my basic speed has reached 200 ms, which is not far from the speed of sound. Lee Hayashin was also full of pride. He is getting stronger every day. However, my strength is stronger. Boom! A powerful force erupted instantly. At this moment, Lee Hayashin's strength has reached 48 tons in normal form. With one punch, the mountain will be shattered. Not good. This terrifying punch immediately made the air roar, and Scott's face changed drastically. He crossed his arms and quickly stood in front of him. Bang! Scott's body was blown away like a cannonball. It's not a fist, it's a train. Scott was speechless for a while, even a little aggrieved. His body was smashed to the ground, and he was dragged for more than 10 meters. Stretching the ground out of a gully, it stopped. Teacher, are you okay? Lee Hayashin hurried forward to ask. Although he knew that he had a terrifying force of 48 tons in one punch, how strong was 48 tons? In fact, Lee Hayashin didn't know. After all, he had never seen such a powerful force, punching out at an extremely fast speed. How much impact can it produce? But now he knows. Cough cough. Cyclops Scott immediately stood up from the ground, looking at Lee Hayashin with a hint of shock in his eyes. I'm fine, I just didn't expect your strength to be so much stronger. He waved his hand and said. But the arm was still trembling. Especially the one on the outermost side, which hangs by the side. Didn't even bother to move. I said, Lee, the last time you fought Colossus, you were at most similar to him, about 20 tons of strength, right? But the strength just now is at least twice as strong, at least at the level of more than 40 tons. You are the most powerful person I have met so far. Scott said a little speechlessly. Generally speaking, after the X gene is awakened, although it can become stronger through practice. But doubling in a short period of time is a bit too exaggerated. If it weren't for the Academy having a special method for mutants to strengthen their bodies. I'm afraid that with that punch just now, I'm going to lose consciousness. The power of a punch exceeding 40 tons is simply outrageous. Scott said with a wry smile. However, I'm not a strength-type mutant. Next, I will carry out ability training. I'll attack you with Cyclops. Of course, I will suppress the strength of Cyclops. However, it will still hurt if you hit your body, so try to avoid it as much as possible. Or use your newly awakened energy system to resist. He took a deep breath immediately and then spoke seriously. I'm Cyclops after all, it's normal to be weaker in competition. Next, I will use my good skills, and it won't be so miserable. Scott immediately comforted himself secretly in his heart. It is good. Lee Hayashin's eyes suddenly brightened. In fact, the strength of his strength does not require him to fight against others. Just go back and find a place to hammer the ground, or hit a mountain to test it out. But in the face of powerful mutant abilities, use your own abilities to fight against them. This is what Lee Hayashin expected. Besides, in the comics, Cyclops can be used to the limit, but even planets can be smashed. This is no less powerful than the shock wave that destroys the Earth level. Although Cyclops in this world seems to be much weaker than in the comics. But it is definitely better than Scott in the film and television drama. So Lee Hayashin also wanted to see what stage his current strength was at. You have to be careful. Scott immediately touched the device on his face. For a while, confidence was full again. He has absolute confidence in his Cyclops. That's fine since teacher you use Cyclops. Then I will also try the new ability I just awakened. Lee Hayashin suddenly took a deep breath with a smile on his face. Boom! Suddenly a wave of white air, like a hurricane, erupted from his body. This is... Scott was taken aback when he saw this scene. Because what I saw earlier was a golden flame-like energy. But at this moment, around Lee Hayashin, there seemed to be a wave of white air. Although it was so faint that normal people might not see it, his Cyclops caught it. Although it is not a golden flame, this white air wave seems to be very powerful. Scott still felt a strong crisis. He still has some confidence in his sixth sense. So although it feels a bit outrageous, Scott has to admit it. The current Lee Hayashin actually brought him a life-and-death crisis. a teenage mutant who was able to make him X-Men Captain Cyclops Scott. Feeling life-threatening. Simply outrageous. But this feeling Scott absolutely believes. What a terrifying talent. Maybe his future achievements will surpass Magneto. Cyclops suddenly thought secretly. After all, in his opinion, the two most powerful mutants now are the Professor and Magneto. In Scott's eyes, the Professor is invincible. So in Scott's view, Lee Hayashin can surpass Magneto. Already the top rating. Boom! As he mobilized the chi in his body, the Super Saiyan transformation unfolded instantly. What a strong feeling. Lee Hayashin immediately felt the chi in his body. Actually, though he's been unlocking the template for a few days now. But he has never seriously released the chi in his body. After all, Lee Hayashin was worried that if the Professor and others knew about this matter, it would be troublesome. Before it is absolutely powerful, it is better to be cautious. But now, Lee Hayashin doesn't need to cover up. Because he is strong enough. Transform. Boom. With the Super Saiyan transformation, the white air waves on Lee Hayashin's body suddenly increased. Huhuhu tilde. In the blink of an eye, within a few meters of his body, a circular deep pit appeared. And the terrifying storm swept across, blowing Scott away. Hey. Scott's face suddenly changed, but now he can't care about the embarrassment. He looked at Lee Hayashin in shock. Boom! The terrifying golden beam of energy actually blasted away the roof of the training ground. At this moment, many people in the academy were shocked. So beautiful. What is that? Is someone fighting? Immediately, everyone rushed to the training ground. Even the professor and Stormy Orlo, who were discussing things in the office, were shocked by this scene. In the training ground, Lee Hayashin was burning with golden flames all over his body, and his hair was standing upside down. The originally pitch-black hair turned into a handsome golden color. All right, teacher, we can begin. Lee Hayashin was suddenly full of strength. He has never been so full of energy before, and there seems to be infinite power in his body. Why do I have a faint sadness? There was a gleam of sparkle in the corners of Scott's eyes. Who is the student and who is the teacher? Because I put onions. Hearing Scott's words, Lee Hayashin suddenly turned his corners up and couldn't help making a little joke. Scott, who has never watched God of Cookery, naturally does not understand this talk. But he could feel that Lee Hayashin seemed to look down on him a little bit. Lee, I'm going to make a move. Scott, who was aggrieved and wanted to cry, finally lost his temper, which is rare. The dazzling red instantly appeared in the eyes of his face. Flickered up. Chapter 20, 1000th Strength. It is rumored that Cyclops is connected to this terrifying alien space. This laser beam is ejected from it. And Cyclops is the key to open that alien space. I don't know how powerful it is. Lee Hayashin is also full of expectations. Whoosh. Next moment. A terrifying red light beam was as thick as a magma stick. Shot out of Scott's eye. Kai. The temperature was so high that the air around the light beam boiled. What a powerful laser. Lee Hayashin's eyes lit up immediately, and a fighting spirit surged out of his body. Is it the Saiyan's naturally warlike blood boiling? Good come. Boom. The air around him instantly shrank and condensed on the body surface. He raised his hands and stood in front of him. He actually wanted to meet Cyclops Scott's attack with his palm tilde. Kai. In an instant, the laser beam hit the palms of Lee Hayashin's hands. Oh my god, it's Lee, he actually caught Mr. Scott's Cyclops with his hand. Colossus, do you dare to take Scott's laser with your hand? That's his hand or steel. Even steel can't stop Cyclops. I can't believe it. At this time, quite a few students had rushed over, just in time to see this scene. They couldn't help being exclaimed. What? Cyclops Scott was instantly calm. If it weren't for the laser beams being released from both eyes now, I'm afraid I would be stunned. Someone actually took his Cyclops with the palm of his hand. Sure enough, using chi can defend against energy damage. Lee Hayashin thought for a moment. Scott's Cyclops is indeed powerful, hot enough to melt steel and pierce rock. But he wrapped it around his palm, forcibly blocking the burning and destruction of Cyclops. As for the piercing power, it is irrelevant to Lee Hayashin, who has a strength of 48 tons. What's more, in his Super Saiyan form, his strength may increase dozens of times or even hundreds of times. At this moment, Lee Hayashin is confident that he can smash the Hulk with his strength. Clap clap clap. At this time, the professor and the Storm also rushed over. Lee, you are really talented. Orlo, the Storm Girl, admired it unabashedly. This talent is really amazing. It seems that since Lee Hayashin's gene broke out last time, the other party's whole person has changed. The talent is stronger, and the person is much more cheerful. Is this your energy system ability, strange power? The professor was also a little shocked. He could feel that the power of this golden flame was absolutely extraordinary. Even Lee Hayashin has not been completely released yet. Otherwise, its power is unimaginable. And you seem to have transformed. The professor looked at Lee Hayashin's blonde hair and said, "It's just that the ability to transform is quite common for mutants. When Colossus activates his abilities, he also turns into metal." The Iceman looked as if his whole body was made of ice. There are many similar mutants in the academy. Lee, I'm going to increase the power of Cyclops. Scott spoke suddenly. After all, he is also the captain of the X-Men, and now he is being overwhelmed by a rookie. Immediately, I felt a little unconvinced. It is good. Lee Hayashin didn't say much. And the energy around him also increased a little. For Lee Hayashin, this is also a good time to control chi. Only by fighting can one better grasp power. After all, the god-level inheritance system only allows Lee Hayashin to possess these powers. But whether it can be displayed perfectly or not, it still needs time and actual combat to adjust. Boom! The terrifying laser beam suddenly became thicker. The scorching heat directly boiled the surrounding air. Everyone could see that the air was about to burn. The thick laser beam is extremely terrifying and powerful. 5 times stronger. Lee Hayashin felt the scorching heat brought by his hands and was also a little surprised. It seems that Scott's ability to serve as the captain of the X-Men is not just talking. Just relying on the power of the laser beam at this moment, it is not comparable to the previous Colossus. It is good. That's what makes it interesting. A trace of fighting intent flashed across Lee Hayashin's eyes. Boom! In the palms of his hands, translucent circular light waves suddenly appeared. Mini Turtle Shockwave. 2 blue Qigong waves flew out from his palm in an instant, facing the laser beam. The Separatist War started. What? Scott's expression changed immediately. He has unleashed the power of Cyclops to the maximum. As a result, not only did Lee Hayashin resist, but now he started to counterattack. Kai Kai Kai. 2 dazzling shock waves, one red and one blue, pushed each other crazily. About 1,000th of the power has been used. A flash of surprise flashed in Lee Hayashin's heart. He is now in Super Saiyan form. Even a power of 1,000th is definitely not to be underestimated. But Scott was able to stalemate with him. Lee Hayashin was surprised here, while Scott on the opposite side was shocked. My Cyclops with all my strength is on par with him. The opponent's energy system ability has just been awakened. According to past experience, it can still improve a lot. In this way, wouldn't it take a long time for Lee Hayashin to surpass him? Okay, let's stop the discussion between the two of you. Otherwise, the training ground will be destroyed. At this moment, the professor suddenly spoke. He looked at the roof of the training ground and then at the red and blue beams of energy surging at the moment, pulling each other, feeling a little helpless for a moment. Although Teacher Bath was able to repair it, it was so badly damaged. It is also slow to repair. And the professor felt that Lee Hayashin's power seemed to be more than that. There should still be a lot of potential, which has not been released. Once the outbreak broke out, I was worried that Xavier College might be destroyed. It is the shock wave of Cyclops and Lee Hayashin. Once it explodes, the training ground may be flattened. Teacher, let's stop together. Lee Hayashin already knew the result he wanted to verify, and he was not going to continue. After all, he couldn't really use the mini turtle shockwave to kill Scott. It is good. Although a little reconciled, Scott nodded. He has tried his best, but it seems that Lee Hayashin is more calm.
Zwish.
The two immediately withdrew their strength at the same time. However, as long as Cyclops is closed, the beam will disappear. But Lee Hayashin's turtle shock wave is not good.
Whoosh.
The next moment, Lee Hayashin rushed to Scott's body. Then, under the puzzled and surprised eyes of the other party, he punched the shock wave of the miniature tortoise flying.
Boom.
Two blue light waves flew out along the roof of the training ground in an instant and exploded in the air. The powerful shock wave made the students in the training ground feel the terrible wind pressure.
Hey.
For a time, everyone was stunned. Chapter 21: Wolverine is coming. Powerful. Too strong. It's ridiculously strong. Previously, Lee Hayashin's shock wave was in a stalemate with Scott's Cyclops. Everyone just watched the fun and didn't feel anything yet. But now that the shock wave of the miniature tortoise exploded, everyone immediately understood the aftermath. The powerful destructive power of this trick.
Hey.
The professor's eyelids jumped suddenly. Although he knew that Lee Hayashin was very powerful, he didn't expect it. The opponent's destructive power is so strong. From this point of view, Lee Hayashin's strength should be close to that of Scott and others. But the professor didn't know that his previous strength was only 1/1000th of his. If you use it with all your strength, will it blow up the earth? Lee Hayashin secretly thought in his heart. He came to the conclusion that, absolutely, there is no need to question the power of the Super Saiyan. Even if this world has mutants, gods, infinite gems, and other supernatural and superuniverse existences, it is countless times larger than the Earth wall in his previous life. But the strength of the Super Saiyan is also unreasonable.
Hoo-ho-ho. Plum. Plum. Plum.
After a while, everyone recovered from the shock. Everyone couldn't help but growl. If you are a little better than others, you may be jealous of others. But if you are much better than others, you will get admiration and respect. The current Lee Hayashin has proved with his strength that he is almost the same as Scott and others. The X-Men are the goals and idols of all the students at Xavier Academy. Professor, I want to go back and think about it. I seem to have realized something just now. Lee Hayashin had never received this kind of treatment before, and he felt uncomfortable immediately. He quickly found an excuse and left. Left with a dazed look since Zio asterisk said in Group 9, 80205-8-5/6 stupid, dumb Scott and countless carnival and excited students. Professor Lee is so strong, Orlo said with some admiration. The other party is younger than her, but if they fight now. Even Storm Girl doesn't have the slightest confidence to say that she can win. Did you see his speed just now? The professor said.
Speed.
Hearing the professor's words, Orlo's eyes widened and his mouth turned into a zero shape.
Boy.
In a flash, it was another 3 days. Lee Hayashin was lying on the lawn of the park with a book covering his